The damage to remote Alaskan villages hit by last weekend's floods is so extreme that many of the more than 2,000 people displaced will not be able to return to their homes for at least 18 months, Governor Mike Dunleavy said in a request to the White House for a major disaster declaration. In one of the worst affected villages, Kipnak, an initial assessment showed that 121 homes, or 90% of the total, were destroyed. In Quigilingak, where 36 homes were swept away by the wind, just over a third of the residences are uninhabitable. The remnants of Typhoon Halong hit the area with the ferocity of a Category 2 hurricane, Dunleavy said, triggering a wave of high waves in the low-lying region. One person died to remain missing, and rescue teams pulled dozens of people from their homes as they floated away. Authorities have been scrambling to airlift people from flooded Alaska Native villages. More than 2,000 people across the region have taken shelter in schools in their villages, in larger communities in southwest Alaska, or have been evacuated by military aircraft to Anchorage, the state's largest city. Anchorage leaders said Friday they expect up to 1,600 evacuees to arrive. So far, about 575 have been airlifted to the city by the Alaska National Guard and are staying in a sports arena or convention center. Additional flights are expected Friday and Saturday. Authorities are working to figure out how to move people out of shelters and into short-term accommodations, such as hotels, and then into long-term housing. Due to time, space, distance, geography, and climate in the affected areas, it is likely that many survivors will not be able to return to their communities this winter, Dunleavy said. Agencies are prioritizing rapid repairs, but it is likely that some damaged communities will not be viable for winter occupancy in the harshest climate in the United States, the Arctic. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy delivered a statement at the Alaska Airlines Center following the severe storm and flooding that impacted the West Coast in Anchorage, Alaska, on Wednesday. The federal government is already assisting with search and rescue, damage assessments, environmental response, and evacuation support. A major disaster declaration by President Donald Trump could provide federal assistance programs for individuals and public infrastructure, including funding for emergency and permanent repairs. The three members of Alaska's congressional delegation sent a letter to Trump on Friday urging swift approval. The storm surge hit a sparsely populated region far from the state's main road network, where communities are accessible only by air or sea at this time of year. Villages typically have only a few hundred residents who hunt and fish for much of their food, and moving to the state's major cities will bring a very different lifestyle. Alexi Stone of Kipnak arrived in Anchorage on a military jet with his brothers, children, and mother after their home was hit by the flood. They are staying at the Alaska Airlines Center at the University of Alaska, where the Red Cross provided evacuees with beds, blankets, and hygiene supplies. At least for the near future, he thinks he might try to find a job at a supermarket. He used to work at one in Bethel. It's going to be trying to find a place and find a job, Stone said Friday. We're starting a new life here in Anchorage. Anchorage officials and business leaders said Friday they were eager to help the evacuees. Our neighbors in western Alaska have experienced tremendous loss, devastation, and suffering, Mayor Suzanne LaFrance said at a meeting of the Anchorage State Legislature. We will do everything we can here in Anchorage to welcome you.